Without doubt, this is the most spectacular spectating point on any rally in the world. We're on the Col de Turini.
We all enjoy a good laugh at other people's expense.
And there are 6,000 people here.
I'm not going to hit the wall. If I crash a milk float, I'll never live it down. I mean, never.
Yeah, you're right there, Michelle. You won't.
Unlike the hood, to put that up, you just take off the tonneau cover, ow,
But if you want to see something really funny, just watch this. The time is 1993 and Mrs. Neo-Georgian is using her new camcorder to film her husband.
Great, do you like it?
He's just spent £55,000 on a new BMW 750. He's very proud of it. He's so proud of it, in fact, that he wants to show his wife the colossal engine.
Oh, it goes this way.
It's V12. What he doesn't realise is, though, that one day he'll have to sell this car and nobody will want it. People are scared of V12s, they're complicated and thirsty. So, 4 years down the line, no matter how much care he's taken of it, it'll only fetch £20,000. He'll have lost 35 grand. Poor Mr. Neo-Georgian.
But here's a tip. Stop laughing at him and buy his car. £20,000 for a V12 limo is an incredible bargain. You see, if you're prepared to buy something a bit unusual, a bit off the wall, the savings are incredible.
Wise men say only fools rush.
Most people in the market for a 2+2 coupe would choose a Porsche, so consequently second-hand prices rise to meet demand. But what about this?
Falling in love with you.
It's the glorious Mazda RX-7. Its body appears to have been poured over the chassis, and then there's the detailing. Nothing even comes close. Not even that. All that.
Now, I will admit, space is at a premium for the taller driver, but there's certainly no shortage of power. Thanks to a smooth, turbocharged Wankel rotary engine, this thing will do 0 to 60, oops, in 5 seconds.
Roger, roll, Atlantis.
It has also gone down in the annals of Top Gear history as the fastest stopping car ever made.
And luckily for us, it's also one of the fastest depreciators. With a bit of haggling, you could buy this 1995 car, which would have cost £32,000 back then, for £20,000. And it's Japanese, remember. These things last. These things last too. About 15 minutes, apparently.
An estate version of the Citroën XM with a V6 engine would have cost £28,000 back in 1994. Today, this car would fetch £10,000.
Then there's the Rover 800 Coupe. You pay £30,000 for one of those new, but if you get one that's 3 years old, you pay less than £10,000. It's a dreadful car, but at least it's a cheap, dreadful car.
I cannot understand why anyone would ever have bought a 24-valve V6-powered Peugeot 605. But luckily for you and I, 6,000 people did. And the only way they can make them more attractive than a used BMW on the second-hand market is selling them cheap. Thus, this £30,000 air-conditioned, leather-lined car can now be yours with 30,000 miles on the clock for just £7,800.
That's very good, but it's not the best. Not by a long way.
When Jaguar first unveiled the XJ220 at the 1988 Birmingham Motor Show, they said it would have a V12 engine and four-wheel drive. They said it would cost £415,000 and that it would be the fastest road car the world had ever seen. If you wanted one of the 300 cars they planned to make in a special factory opened by Princess Diana, you had to put down a deposit of £57,000, and loads of people did just that, unaware that the economy was about to explode. When the XJ220 finally blasted onto the market in 1992, many said they could no longer afford it and asked for their deposits back. They argued that the finished car had a six-cylinder turbo engine and not the V12 they'd been promised, and that it only had two-wheel drive. Jaguar ended up taking customers to court, forcing them to buy a car they didn't want. And they wanted it even less when the McLaren F1 came along, making the XJ220 look almost pedestrian.
The upshot was simple. They only made 281 XJ220s, and 22, all of them left-hand drive, were never sold. They've just come onto the market, though, for a little bit less than the original asking price of £415,000. If you want this car brand new with no miles on the clock, it's yours for £150,000. Let me just wrap that one up for you. It represents a saving of just slightly more than £250,000.
Now, a bleeding heart would feel for the few who paid the full price all those years ago, but I don't care. All of a sudden, the 220 has become a very real, fun-filled alternative to a pension.
Now, of course, the value of your investment can go up as well as down. But unlike any of the packages on offer from Sun Life, this one can also go sideways.
I know the 220 is too big and the interior is too small. I know the brakes are shockingly bad. I know the turbo engine sounds flat, and I know it doesn't have a racing pedigree.
But I don't care about any of that, because this is the first time I've ever driven an XJ220 properly, and I simply cannot believe that something this big goes this quickly.
It really is noticeably faster than any other road car I've ever driven.
I'll show you how fast it goes, right? Foot down, and the stereo shoots out of the dashboard. And that doesn't happen in a Nissan Micra.
You know, this is now a hypercar at a supermarket price. And with the money you save, you can always buy another radio. And if you want, the shop that sold it to you.